Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都还难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niuniu Honglin with Mr. Tony Reed in the studio. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Niuniu. Pleasure to be here as usual. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about something that you should be very familiar with, since you told me previously that you are really hot on buying stuff online on Taobao, are you?
Yes, I am. I am considered the Taobao champion.
The Taobao champion, Tony Reed.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, after you get all of your packages, your deliveries, what do you do with the package? What do you do with the wrapping?
Well, a lot of the boxes I keep. But when I do...
Really?
Yeah, I'm storing.
Are you a hoarder?
Yeah, when it comes to food, I'm hoarding a lot of food in my apartment. But anyway, that's besides the point. When I do throw away the box, I put it in, I just put it in the recycling.
So you don't do anything about the part where you have your name, your phone number, your address on?
No, not really.
Do you know that there are a lot of videos online showcasing how people can get that information from your kuaidi boxes, from your delivery boxes, about who you are, about your phone number? I mean, for you, it's a little bit less dangerous because they cannot really get your full name from your delivery boxes, but they do get most Chinese full names and the telephone number, and from there they will get the ID number of the person and try to
How do they get your ID number from that?
Well, they'll just search online and do, a little bit of, in Chinese we say 人肉搜索, human flash searching. That is to figure out who you are, maybe more information about you, where you live, your hobby, because you do use that phone number to register on multiple platforms.
Right.
So, yeah, that can be somehow a little bit dangerous. And in this day and age, we all believe protecting our privacy, our private information online and maybe in daily life is something very vital to our safety.
Sure. It's never fun to have your stuff taken and used on different platforms, and you're signed up and have all these accounts, and you're like, wait a minute, who's this person? That's not me. I didn't do that.
And to say the least, having people sending you customized ads can be very annoying as well.
I think that's just inevitable. And I don't think there's any way you can get out of that. People are just going, those telemarketers and emails and all this nonsense.
But if it's to the point that you just decided to think about buying a new car, or you've just talked about buying a new car, and all of a sudden all these car ads starting to flooding at you, you would find yourself a little bit terrified about how much the internet, the big data knows about you.
I mean, if I'm talking about it and it's verbal, and then all of a sudden I get an alert on my phone, that would be creepy, but I don't know if it's that smart yet.
We don't know that, but yeah, sometimes it happens. Nevertheless, we should protect our privacy. In Chinese, we say 隐私保护.
隐私保护.
Yes, so 隐私 would be privacy.
Oh, I hear tiger in there somewhere.
No, you hear protect. 保护 is protect, and 老虎 is tiger. Pretty close, but still not quite there yet.
All right.
Anyway, 隐私保护 would be the topic of today's Takeaway Chinese. So for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 你记得我们昨天聊天的内容吗？记得呀。 我们不是讨论了隔壁办公室小王新买的跑步机吗？对，然后今天我手机上的各种软件就都在推荐跑步机，我也是，连短视频软件都给我推荐各种室内健身器材和减肥食谱。我们的隐私数据安全真的是个大问题。
Yeah, sounds like somebody needs to really, watch their information. Otherwise, there's going to be a problem. And this other person sounds like they're trying to calm them down a little bit.
A little bit, but I think both of their information is leaking and it's all over the place, and every software on their phone is taking advantage of it. We'll discuss how to deal with it, or should we just, be okay with this happening later.
Right.
Let's focus on the language first. 你记得我们昨天聊天的内容吗？
This is, do you remember what we talked about yesterday?
Uh-huh.
So, ni, this is you.
Yep.
And then 记得.
记得
So this is remember. Yeah?
Remember.
And 我们 is we. 昨天, this is yesterday.
Uh-huh.
聊天.
聊天
And this is like chat about or talk about.
Yes, it can be chat about, talk about, chat with. So basically chat, 聊天. 聊天 again can be used both as a noun and a verb. So
Alright.
我们的聊天, our conversation, our chat.
我们的聊天.
Yeah, or 我们聊天吧. Let's chat. Well, people don't really say that, but it's not grammatically wrong. So
Okay.
聊天 and 聊天的内容
내용, this is like the subject
the
of
subject,
what we talked about,
the
right?
content.
So the conversation's topics,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The topic that we talked about.
Yeah, literally speaking, topics would be 话题.
话题.
Yes, and 话题 is like the main topic. And in Chinese, sometimes we would say the content, 内容, because 内容 can also be used in other scenarios, and translating it as content would be more precise in the sense.
Well, I guess in English we wouldn't say, do you remember
Content
the
of
content?
our
We would just say,
conversation,
remember the
yeah.
topic we discussed?
Yeah.
It's kind of...
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes in order to learn a language, you also need to be familiar with people's way of thinking and also the fixed correlations, the set phrases. And yeah, it takes time, but we'll get there.
Okay, so
记得-
not topic, content.
Content. 记得呀，我们不是讨论了隔壁办公室小王新买的跑步机吗？
This is, I remember, didn't we talk about Xiaowang's new treadmill in the office next door? Who's Xiaowang, by the way?
Xiaowang is just someone, and
Just a random...
yeah.
Okay, like a average Joe, or I guess in English we would say John Doe. It's just a random
Yes.
name.
But in this conversation, apparently Xiaowang is 隔壁办公室的小王. So 隔壁 we know is next door. 办公室 is office. 小王. So literally, I think more precisely, it's about Xiaowang's new treadmill. The Xiaowang, who is in the next door office. So it's like a common or shared colleague.
Okay, a shared colleague, but it's just a name here.
It's a name here. It's not a John Doe.
Okay.
Though we use it as John Doe sometimes in Chinese scenario.
Okay, so 记得呀, this is like, I remember.
Remember, for sure.
我们, we, 不是, like,
Didn't.
is not, or...
Yeah.
And then 讨论,
讨论.
讨论. This is like discuss.
Yes.
Right? 讨论了, so discussed. 隔壁.
隔壁.
This is next door.
Next door. Actually, 隔 is like separate with, and 壁 here is 墙壁, wall. So 隔壁 is like what's between us is just one wall. So it's next door.
Okay.
办公室.
办公室. So this is office,
Yes.
right?
So that's like next office.
All right.
Neighboring office.
And then again, Xiaowang. So this is next office's Xiaowang
Yeah,
or
the Xiaowang in the
John Doe or this guy.
uh-huh.
新买的. So
新买的.
something that's new that was bought?
Yes,
Or,
yes.
yeah.
Something that he has just bought.
Okay.
新买的
And then 跑步机.
跑步机
This is a treadmill.
Yes, 跑步机 in Chinese, literally 跑步 is running. And 机 is 机器 machine, running machine.
Running machine. Got
Yeah,
it.
treadmill. 对，然后今天我手机上的各种软件就都在推荐跑步机。
And so this is yes. And today, all kinds of software on my phone are recommending treadmills.
Yeah,
So 对 is right.
right.
然后. So 然后 this is like then.
And then
今天 is today. 我手机 so this is my handphone or my phone.
my phone.
Yeah. 香的 so 香 here is
On.
this like on? Okay.
Yes, it's actually, literally speaking, this person is trying to talk about 各种软件, all different software.
Okay.
So we know 各种 is different, and 软件 is software, apps, applications. But he's saying the applications on my phone. So you want to say 我手机上的软件. We know in English you want to put the main noun in the conversation a little bit early, and then you can describe it with other things. And in Chinese, sometimes we would put the adjectives in front of that noun. So 手机上的各种软件. Even though the main noun here is 各种软件, we would put 我手机上的 in front of it.
Oh. Okay. All right. So 香的各种
All kinds of.
all kinds of or various, right?
Uh-huh.
软件
软件.
软件 this is the software.
Yes.
And then 九 is this also then?
Then.
All right. 都在推荐 so 都在 so 都
All.
is, right? And then like is this zai here? Is this in the continuous?
Yes,
like,
doing something, something's happening.
And then 推荐 this is recommended. And then of course 跑步机 is again treadmill, right?
Yes. So 推荐 again is the word that can be used for as both noun and verb. So 推荐我也是连短视频软件都给我推荐各种室内健身器材和减肥食谱。
And this is me too. Even the short video software recommends all kinds of indoor fitness equipment and weight loss recipes for me. So, 我也是 this means me too. 我is I, and then 也是 is
Also is.
Also is. And then 连
Even. Yes.
短视频
短视频
This is short video, yeah?
Short video. 短视频软件 we already talked about software. And 短视频软件 nowadays in Chinese internet is very popular. There are multiple 短视频 so short video software, short video applications like TikTok. In Chinese, we also have 火山 that's like volcano, or 西瓜 watermelon. These are all 短视频网站. They would provide you with short videos as short as around 3 to 5 minutes. There are longer ones, but they won't be longer than, for example, 10 minutes or even longer than that.
All right.
It's very rare. And on these different kind of apps, there are different content, of course, different subject, different themes, but recommending certain things to buy would be a very popular genre. And people would take advice from these short video typed advertisements. And that is why I think it has become a new advertising way. And 短视频网站, something pretty popular, which is why I think you should know about it.
短视频 this is short video. 软件 this is a software.
Yes.
都给我 So I know 给我 is give me. 都 was that all here?
Okay, so 都 here is a little bit interesting because 连 something something 都 together is the even this started to do something kind of structure. So if I say 连你都不相信我就没有人相信我了. It's like saying if even you don't trust me, there would be no one that'll trust me. So together 连都 putting together, they would compose or they would complete the even if even this is happening kind of structure.
Okay.
So that's how you use Dole here.
All right. 都给我推荐. So 推荐 is recommended. And then we have 各种. So 各种, this is a new one for me. This is like various.
Yes.
And then 室内.
室内.
室内, this is indoor.
Indoor. And 室外.
室外, that's outdoor, right?
Outdoor, yes.
Okay. And then 健身.
健身.
That looks like exercise.
Yes, exercise, fitness.
器材.
器材.
器材, this is equipment.
Yes, dumbbell. I don't know.
Barbells and
Different bells.
elastic bands and all this kind of stuff.
All these are 健身器材. There are a lot of 健身器材 out there. Some of them I have no idea how to use. They look strange and heavy.
Yeah. Some of them were a little redundant, but for if everybody's different. And so we have 健身器材
健身器材
和减肥食谱.
Yes, 减肥食谱.
And that is like losing weight, like recipes.
So 减肥 is losing weight. Literally 减 means to deduct something or to minus something. 肥 is fat. So to be less fat, literally. I know it's not. And when you translate it, it sounds like a really rude word. But actually, 减肥, 健身, that's very neutral.
What's the full word for fat?
肥胖.
Okay, 胖, that's what I remember. And sometimes I hear 胖 and then sometimes it's 肥. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It depends on the word you're talking about. Because 胖 is... Well, both 肥 and 胖 can mean fat. Both characters mean fat. But if you want to form a word with a character meaning fat, you can't necessarily say for sure which one to use, despite the fact that you should just, remember them. So remember the fixed correlation.
All right.
So 减肥, that's losing weight or to be slimmer. And 食谱 is recipe. So 食 is food. And 谱 carries the meaning of a sheet music. The kind of paper, you have all the indications.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the paper telling you how to play an instrument or how
all
to
the
sing.
notes and stuff that you got to hit. Right.
Yes. So 食谱, you can understand it as a piece of paper with the information of how you should cook.
Okay.
So recipe in that sense.
好。
食谱。我们的隐私数据安全真的是个大问题。
The security of our private data is really a big problem.
Yeah.
So 我们的, that's our. 隐私.
隐私.
I think that's privacy.
Privacy, very important word. 隐私. 隐 carries the meaning of invisible, and 私 means private. So these things that is our private things that should be invisible for others would be our privacy.
Okay.
数据.
数据. So this is data.
Data. 数据. Data.
And then 安全, this is safe, right?
Safety, security. So here, 隐私数据安全 would be the security of our private data. 真的.
真的, this is really.
Really?
And then 是个大问题. So 是个 means is, right?
One is one.
Is one. And then 大 is big, and then 问题 is problem.
问题 is problem. In Chinese, 问题...
But doesn't 问题 also mean question?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to explain here. 问题 can be a problem and can be question in the Chinese sense. We believe if there is a problem, it is basically a question that needs some answers. That is why in Chinese, both words or both meanings share the same word. 问题.
好.
Do you have any 问题 for the conversation?
没有问题.
没有问题. 好的. Then let's practice it. 你记得我们昨天聊天的内容吗？
记得呀，我们不是讨论了隔壁办公室小王新买的跑步机吗？
对，然后今天我手机上的各种软件就都在推荐跑步机。
我也是，连短视频软件都给我推荐各种室内健身器材和减肥食谱。
我们的隐私数据安全真的是个大问题。 You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niuniu and Tony. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's talk about our private data safety and how to protect them, or whether or not it's possible to live in a world that our privacy is fully protected. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niuniu with Tony here in the studio. First things first, do you think it's still possible to be able to live in a world where you would have none of your private information released, or is that a lost cause already?
I don't think it's a lost cause. It's possible, but it depends on how extreme you want to live your life. I think there are people out there who don't have like these social media accounts. They don't put their information online. They don't use the internet so much. I used to fall into this category, but working here, things are slowly changing.
You work in the media.
Exactly.
It's not possible.
Exactly. It's slowly changing these days, but you do have individuals who really are really vigilant about not being visible.
You know, my dad is one of those.
I'm thinking of my dad too. Yep.
My dad is quite extreme. He only started to use smartphones recently. I mean, smartphones have been in China for a decade maybe. And Dad is the kind of person who doesn't trust smartphones. He's the one who say they would 监听. 监听 is like secretly listen to you. I don't know why, but he believes all smartphones are listening to us.
Did he used to be in the military?
No.
No? Well, my dad was former military, so he's like, he knows they can do that, so he's just like, no.
Yeah, but my dad is very vigilant, and he only started to use smartphones.
Does he cover the camera on the phone or on the?
He's still not bringing smartphones outside. He just uses it sometimes in the office or at home. He's not on any kind of social media. He would not have his information register on anywhere. I mean, he's a very common man living in the country. No one's going to listen to him or spy on him. I don't know why.
It's just the point that they could, and that's the part that just makes people uncomfortable. You know, I mean, I mentioned my dad because he covers the computer monitors and the phones, the parts where the camera can actually view you. He covers that part.
You know,
you can't see.
Most extreme thing my dad did was to throw away the floor sweeping robot because the robot one day sent him a message saying that you haven't been using me for a month. Don't you need me to clean the floor? And he was like, you keep a record? That is not going to happen. Dad is really strict.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, he's really strict about that.
My dad doesn't have any of those video chatting apps, so needless to say, I haven't seen him in years.
Oh my.
Because he won't do it because he feels like they're spying and they'll be able to, they will be able to locate him.
There's a they, huh? It's always a they. I mean, I used to think my dad was just being crazy, but recently I started to realize that when we talk to each other, especially using any kind of chatting apps to talk to each other about certain service, where I'm thinking that when we're using these chatting apps or when we're searching stuff online, after a while, you would find that all of these shopping apps started to pushing the product that you have searched or you have talked about to your front page. And I don't know why that's happening.
I think that's simple. It's an algorithm. I mean, I think all shopping platforms have it. Amazon, Taobao, all these kinds of places. If you're searching on there for certain products, it's a no-brainer that they're going to give you recommendations.
Sometimes I'm only searching the product in my search engine instead of in the shopping.
Yeah, but they sell that information.
Exactly.
They give that information to different places.
I think they share the information too much. And
not if you have Apple. You can't do that anymore. They ask you permission. If you say no, then they can't do it.
That's true. That's happening to me sometimes. But you would see how that's only happening recently.
Very recently. Yeah.
And also when you are installing a certain app, they would ask for your privilege of using your camera using your...
Sure. And even like cookies, like if you go on certain sites,
Yes.
almost every site asks you for cookies if you want to, if you're okay with them tracking certain things and this and that. And a lot of times you can't even access the site unless you click that button like yes, but I never do.
Yeah.
I always just scroll around and I just look in the small part of the screen that I need to access that website. Instead, I never click cookies. I never agree to it.
You are much more vigilant than I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird. But
No,
that's
I
just
think
how I
that's
am.
right. So, in that sense, are there any tips from very vigilant Tony that you
Get
can
off the internet. Stay away from social media.
live like a cave person?
Not a cave person, but just be someone that's just remote. Use a phone for the purpose that you need a phone for, and that's to make phone calls and possibly send a text message. But all this video stuff, all this exposure, it's overrated. After a while, it becomes your life.
Yeah, sometimes people, or some people, would believe that for this convenience, for big data to know your next step and provide you with better services, it's a
trade-off.
Yeah, it is a acceptable trade-off to sacrifice a little bit of your privacy. Do you believe in it?
Well, you're talking to somebody whose WeChat Pay has been disconnected, and I haven't given them my information so that I can continue making purchases. So I'm just
You're not one of those.
I'm one of these really difficult people who just I'll pull out my paper money and pay for things.
I think I'm not that extreme, but I do believe that for my personal information, we say 个人信息, personal information, and for my, for example, password, 密码. Because I don't know if I'm the only one. Perhaps I'm not. I am the kind of girl who use a set password plus something, various for different platforms. So I would have a strain of numbers and letters that I remember as my kind of like, in Chinese we call it 密码根, so the root of my password.
Okay.
Then I would verify it depending on different platforms.
Are you sure you should be sharing this right now?
No, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people do that. And
right.
some people even use the same password for different platforms.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, in that sense, from your password, people can guess your mentality. They can guess your password for other platforms.
Sure.
Perhaps even your credit card, and just that's very dangerous. So protecting your password, very important.
It is, and it's tough because if they're as intelligent as we all think they are, a lot of times they can pull up your name and they can track where you've lived. They know your birthday, and these are a lot of the numbers and codes that people use for certain things. And it's just a matter of time. They will crack your code and they will get in. So it can be tough.
And another piece of advice, I think, that is a little bit more towards your acquaintance or people you actually meet in person, is that do not enable your lock screen notifications. So lock screen in Chinese would be 锁屏, literally 锁 lock, 屏 屏幕 your screen. Because if you allow your notifications to come out on your screen, even if it's locked, people would not need the password for your phone to get some of your information. That is also a little bit dangerous, especially in the scenario where you lose your phone and some stranger got your phone and started to use it to get all your information and stuff.
And certain Wi-Fi connections, if you're using a public Wi-Fi somewhere, and then you use that Wi-Fi to go on to your online banking or whatever, that could be potentially dangerous too.
Yes, that's true. What are some places that the public Wi-Fi is safe?
Your personal one at home, that would probably
That's the only
be okay.
one?
But outside of that, it's not advisable to use their public Wi-Fi to make banking transactions. Perhaps if you're using your personal data, possibly. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you there. Some people suggest that if you're using your, for example, online bank on a public Wi-Fi, it is really easy for others to steal your password, to get your information, and to even steal your money.
That's right.
And after all the precautions we talked about, and after making all of them, it is still possible that in a certain accident, you lose some of your private information. And in that case, I would strongly suggest everyone to be vigilant. Don't believe in a strange phone call telling you that your son is at their
just won $1
hands,
million.
or you just won $1 million.
And you need to submit your information to collect the money.
In China, we do have a so-called 反诈 app, anti-con app.
Anti-con app?
Yes, if you stole that app.
That sounds like a con in itself.
No. It is a really legitimate app. And if you install that app, there is a list of telephone numbers that are identified as, with the con groups. And if that number calls you, your app would automatically label them as fake, just like,
Yeah, but they change those numbers all the time. I mean, and a lot of these con companies, they have millions of numbers. If that one number doesn't work, they'll just call you another one.
Sure, but still, I mean, with that app, they can help you a little bit so that you do not fall into victim of those con groups. That brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niuniu with Tony here in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column Podcast.
You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, including Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and much more. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. And don't forget to leave your comments, ratings, and questions.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.
再见。